Yeah, it was a good debate, and I think everybody handled themselves very well.
We're going to step up here into the light just a little bit here so people can see you a little bit better. Question for you. The whole thing of campaign financing didn't come up in this debate. Do you think that the system needs some fixing? Do we need to get the corporate money out of politics? So what's your whole thought on that? That subject didn't really come up at all.
No, and I'm sorry that it didn't. I kind of raised the subject in my opening remarks about the need for changing the way we do politics and taking the money and the perverse influence that it has on the public policy process out of politics. And there's several ways you do that. One is you have to reverse Citizens United. And in my judgment, we need public funding for public campaigns so that representatives are responsible to the public and not to the most well-financed special interests.
Right now we have a situation where PACs really obscure the transparency that's supposed to be there. Should there be laws that require the donors to PACs to being exposed or named who they are?
Absolutely. At a minimum, we have to have transparency. At least with transparency, if you know where someone's money is coming from, you might be able to better predict how they may respond to a particular policy. Those of us who grew up in the country are quite familiar with that old notion that he who pays the fiddler gets to pick the tune. And we can do that without any constitutional amendments or anything. The Congress has had several votes on it, and they voted down transparency. And that's something I would vigorously support, is transparency in political contributions, no matter where, when, or how they come.
Final question for you. Were you surprised by any of the questions tonight from the audience?
They were all good questions, and that doesn't surprise me. People are really engaged in the political process. In this particular election contest, they feel their country's in trouble, that it's at a tipping point, and they feel the need to get engaged, and it's been quite heartwarming to see how people are stepping up and getting involved.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I know it's very valuable this time of the campaign, and best of luck as to everything between now and the primary.
Yeah, we're down to the last week, so
okay.
I think all the candidates are pretty excited about getting to the finish line here.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you very much. That was candidate Nolan here. I just noticed that all this time you've been telling us we're Tarryl Clark, but here is Tarryl Clark. Yes, Tarryl. We know each other. Tarryl, why don't you step up here into the light a little bit here so people can see you? Right there is good.
There we go.
Well, Tarryl, how did how do you think things went this evening?
Oh, you know, the students and the staff here really put together an incredible event for everybody. Really appreciate the kinds of questions they asked. And, you know, it's actually almost too bad. Well, I know we were doing this prior to the primary. It's too bad Congressman Cravaack wasn't here. I know that his tracker was here, but it'd be nice to actually have the congressman actually talking to people in the district.
It seemed like he was the topic of this debate more than anything else.
Well, I think, you know, in many ways, he told people up front that he was going to go and change things. He was going to go there and create jobs. He was going to do business differently. But frankly, he went Washington awfully fast. You know, he's been leasing a car for $1,000 a month on the taxpayer dime, sending out campaign-style lit on our dime, you know, things like that, and voting against anything that would really create a job in our district and certainly throughout the country, and that's wrong.
One topic that really didn't come up tonight that we're concerned about at the Uptake, I think a lot of people are, is the campaign financing, that there's a lot of corporate money that's being used, there's a lot of money you don't know where it's coming from. I mean, do you agree with that? Something needs to be done about that, and what should be done?
Well, and I was hoping we were going to talk more about it too, which is why I brought it up in my opening comments. I think Citizens United was decided wrongly. We obviously had some issues with big money in politics before, but it's obscene. When I think about what we could be doing to educate our kids or fix our roads or create jobs with the amount of money that's being spent, whether it's on a presidential race or here. Now, I think we're going to have, frankly, an amendment to change this. Unless we can change the Supreme Court's mind, I'm more than happy to do that. There's also some other ways that we can deal, whether it's through campaign public financing, but giving incentives so that somebody can't just go around the system. Because let's face it, there's an awful lot of deep-pocketed people running. Myself and my husband, Doug, aren't two of those people. And I have reached out far and wide to make sure that we are having a grassroots campaign. I'm proud to got the Democracy for America endorsement now too, but we have over 12,000 people who have been contributing, including an awful lot of people where it's $2, $3, $5, $10 of their hard-earned money or their retirement money. That's what it should be about. So why some people's speech is somehow freer or worth more is a real problem. And so I will do everything I can to make sure we have the resources we need to get our message out, because let's face it, the U.S. Chamber has been propping up Congressman Cravaack for a while now. But once I get there, I'm going to do what I've done here, which is keep working to make sure we're fixing our campaign finance system.
Now, a lot of those donors to you, those $5 and $10 and $25 donors, we know who they are. Right. We don't know who's donating on the other side. Should at bare minimum we have transparency?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it didn't go as far as we would have liked to, but we negotiated with Governor Pawlenty to actually have some disclosure. So there's some things we'll know about a bit more in Minnesota than other states, but I hope to be part of that. I do think it's important that Congress passes the Disclose Act now. Because we don't know who these shadowy folks are. But why an entity, a corporation, a big group like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce can just be floating a lot of money in, or why somebody like Adelson or the Koch brothers can be getting billionaires to each be sticking money out. Again, this is supposed to be on us. I don't think, for all the talk about our founders, I don't think our founders thought that this is the way it was going to work.
I know you've got to get along here, but I just wanted to ask you, were there any questions tonight that you found surprising, or was there any favorite question you had that somebody really asked a good one?
You know, I think that a trend that I was hearing, and I wish if we had known that we were going to have a variety of questions along this line, in a way about workforce preparedness, about education, about making sure that students that are in our colleges can actually make it work. I think there's some more things that we could have talked about with that, but I thought that was excellent. And I was a little surprised that we didn't actually end up talking about women's health, because of what's happened in Washington and the war on women by the Republicans.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff Anderson mentioned that it's important to learn as you talk to your constituents as you go. Have you learned anything in this campaign from talking to your constituents or potential constituents here?
Oh, many things. Probably way too long for the amount of time your viewers are going to actually want to listen. You know, today when I was in McGregor, I talked to a woman who works at a quilt shop, because I'm doing the quilt shop hop as part of, because I'm a quilter. Got to hear from her about the impact of the flood and her insurance and FEMA. I heard from another quilt owner much further north about being concerned about, since they mail in ballots, they don't get to vote in person, about whether their votes get counted. I got a chance to be hearing from a number of workers just really worried about their own jobs, but really feeling like their families are the ones that are, excuse my language, getting screwed, while Wall Street is getting sweetheart deals. And there's, well, I say a lot of pain and worry out there. It's also just amazing, this incredible spirit that people have. And I think that's what makes our region, our state, and our country great.
Thank you so much, Tarryl Clark. Best of luck in the primary. I know it's coming up here in less than just a week and a day, that's so right. You got a lot of work to do, so I'll let you go.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you again.
Good to see you. Take care.
Take care.
All right. And we're looking around. I don't know if we're going to have Jeff Anderson up here or not. Yes, hey. Mr. Anderson. I am fine. Thank you so much for dropping by. Mike McIntee with the Uptake. We've been talking to everybody, all the candidates afterwards, and just wanted your first impression on how things went.
I think things went great. It's an opportunity for people to see the three of us and to hear us talk about the issues and to hopefully learn what some of the differences are, both in our positions but also in our style.
One topic that really didn't come up tonight that we've been asking people about is campaign financing. There's a lot of money being spent that we don't know what's being spent. Does campaign finance law, do they need to be changed? Do we need to change Citizens United? What should be done, or is everything just fine?
I know it needs to be changed. I'm proud of the fact that this past December, as a city councilor in Duluth, I put forward a measure moving to amend both the state and U.S. Constitution against Citizens United. We became the first city in the state of Minnesota to take that position, and I think it's important for cities and for individuals to take that position. There's too much money in politics right now, and the people don't have to be truthful about what they say, and they certainly now don't have to tell you who's paying for it. It's wrong. I can tell you now firsthand, as someone running for office, that there's too much emphasis put on the money, how much money you raise, and where that money comes from. In this particular race, I'm proud of the fact that over 80% of the money I've raised has come from the 8th Congressional District compared to my opponents, both of whom have, of their reportable dollars, have raised under 8% in the district.
And if you get past the primary, your next opponent also raises a lot of money from outside. But the thing is, we don't really, that's to the direct candidates. There's all these other PACs and super PACs that can run ads, obviously, that are not allegedly supposed to coordinate with the candidates, but nudge, nudge, these things happen. We don't know who's donating to them. At bare minimum, should there be some sort of transparency that we list those names of those who are donating to nonprofits and PACs that are running all these ads?
Oh, absolutely. We should know who is contributing to these PACs, who's paying for these messages. We're going to see an election here in the 8th Congressional District unlike any other. We're going to see more of those dollars come in to this district, and most of them are going to be spent against myself or another Democrat. So it's a very important, it should be very important to the citizens of this district to understand the influence that money has, and we need to be able to follow the money. And if you can't follow the money, I think that's a dangerous state of affairs for politics in this country.
Any questions tonight that came from the audience that surprised you at all, or that you liked a lot?
Not necessarily. I mean, I've been asked over the past 16 months a lot of these questions before, and I was happy that we got to talk a lot about education and a lot about the economy, about jobs, because I've traveled over 100,000 miles around the 8th Congressional District the past 16 months, and I can tell you that jobs and the economy and economic opportunities for people in this district, that's what keeps coming up. It's about jobs. And so I was glad that people ask questions about those jobs and what we as candidates, what we as representatives would do to create those opportunities here in this district.
Now, you are from Duluth. Your political career has been in Duluth. This is first national or statewide, however, larger office, there is the word I'm looking for, that you've run for. You mentioned in your closing remarks that you need to learn from the people you talked to. What have you learned over the last, it's been 16 months, or how long it's been that you've been running? What have you learned that's been most important to you?
Well, I was born and raised on the Iron Range. I've lived in Duluth, lived here in this district my entire life. So I've spent a lot of time learning about agriculture in the southern part of this district and about challenges that our rural communities face in the western and southern parts of the district. It's been eye-opening to see the struggles that so many communities go through. And the common theme, though, is that we have shrinking communities. We have people leaving this district to find opportunities in other places. And I think that that's the most important issue for us as candidates for Congress, and it should be the most important issue for whoever is representing us. I was sort of jabbed by the Star Tribune in their endorsement of Tarryl Clark this past weekend that as a representative, I would probably focus too much on the impacts, the national impacts on the 8th Congressional District. Yes, I would. That's important. Our representative should look at the impacts of everything on the 8th, especially in regards to how it's going to create jobs and opportunities for people. We have to invest in our natural resource-based economy. We have to invest in manufacturing. These are all things we can do. We just need the right leader in place. Chip Cravaack's not that leader, and I believe I am.
Okay. Well, Mr. Anderson, thank you so much for dropping by. We appreciate your time. I know it's very valuable, and best of luck in the primary a week from tomorrow.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope people get out and vote on August 14th.